Hey, soul family. I really meditated and prayed over what was meant for me to share today. Every day I have some kind of involvement with abuse or someone I know is impacted by it, and there's so much content to share. And I really didn't have anything personally come up for me today. It was actually kind of a chill day, and I was able to just work on some creative projects and get some stuff done, like shopping and cooking, and I was reflecting on yesterday. I had a Reiki appointment for a client, and in the session, she had never had it done before and had a lot of body symptoms went during the session. And I told her that whatever she needs to know or feel at that appointment was meant for her, and she's in full control. Her soul will not call anything in that she's not prepared to handle. And we talked through it, the whole process. I get a lot of guidance when I'm doing Reiki, and I think that helped her relax. We talked a lot in the beginning as I was working from the crown chakra down, and she was verbalizing things that she was experiencing too. Some people just get so relaxed and fall asleep. Some people have visions of colors. Some people yawn, some people cry. It just depends. And in this situation, I've twice now had clients who've suffered physical trauma, like physical abuse and emotional abuse. I've twice now, the two individuals that I know that had suffered quite terribly around my table for healing ended up getting body shakes. And it scared her, and she did say it's scaring me, and she did talk to me about it. She also has a tough time communicating, and her throat chakra and her heart chakra were blocked, so it didn't surprise. We talked that through, that she is having a tough time speaking her truth. But I told her this is a safe space. This is a great place to practice speaking your truth. I want to know how you feel. If you're hot, I want to know. If you're cold, I want to know. If you need the fan on or off, I want to know. If you feel that pillow's bothering you, kick it off. I would rather know during the session that you need something than to find out later that you didn't speak up. So I told her this is a safe space. I'm a safe space. I want to know. I'm inviting you to share and to practice during the session so that she can get better in real life, expressing herself. Because some people are just not safe people to share with. So I think that I saw her kind of breathe a sigh of relief when we talked about that ahead of time. So during the session, she did share with me. I had told her too, if anything comes up for you that you want me to jot down so you don't forget, I will do that. So she felt open to share. And she did say at a certain point, I was actually up at her crown chakra, that her whole body started, like I didn't see her shaking, but she said she felt like she was shaking, and she started to feel like she was spinning. And it scared her, not because the sensations were traumatic or anything like that, or really intense. It was just she didn't know what was happening. And the guidance I got as to why that was happening for her is that she actually received an influx of energy from the divine. She called that in. We co-created that session. I told her that 333 on the clock just now. And threes are all about body, mind, spirit integrating. I feel like that's a confirmation as well. Like during that session, she was actually calling in more of her spirit. She was allowing the divine source energy to flow through her. And I actually did have a vision of kind of like this like looping tube going through her body. It wasn't a real thing, but I was imagining, and it was like clear water flowing really fast. And I think she was calling that in, that healing. And from what I know of the soul and going through trauma, is that you can actually, as a soul, you can actually cut off certain parts of your soul when you're going through really extreme trauma or pain. You do that to survive, kind of like an amputee has to have a body part cut off that's possibly going to infect the whole body. Something traumatic happened to it. Your soul can actually do that. You can get soul loss. And because of her physical abuse, she's out of that situation and healing, but she's at a point in her life where she's ready to receive now more of what's in store for her, and more manifestations coming in, because she's at a point in her healing where she's calling that in. So it was really beautiful. And she didn't, as we talked about, and I just said, I think you're getting an influx of, what you're feeling is just an influx of energy that you're integrating back into your body, because for so long you didn't feel safe in your body. You had to cut parts of you off to deal with that trauma that you were in, and you're now at a place of wanting to be more whole. And we talked that through, and she really relaxed into it. She ended up really feeling a lot of healing and peace, and it was so good and rewarding. And so I just want to encourage any of you that if you've been through trauma or abuse, even if it's emotional abuse and it wasn't physical, that can still take a really huge toll on the body. You can struggle for so long to feel safe in your body, because when you're with a toxic individual that gaslights you, manipulates you, lies to you, betrays you, cheats on you, steals, like, you have to kind of like cut off parts of your heart and your soul and your mind in order to survive that situation. So when you're out of it, your brain is just always trying to protect you. Your body and your brain don't always know that you're safe now. It's okay to come back into the body. You actually have to go through enough healing to be aware of that, like, hey, like, things, parts of me are missing, like, I've been damaged in this area and I don't want to be that way anymore, and I want to heal fully. And when you set that intention and have that awareness that you want more and you're ready for more, and that you are in a safe space, and you can recognize where, wow, I'm possibly, my brain might be telling me I'm unsafe and because it wants to keep me stuck, but it might also be keeping me small, and it might need to reprogram my brain and my body, because the body keeps the score. If you've ever read that book, it's a beautiful book about trauma. Basically what happens is, even if you do not have a conscious memory of a trauma, like if it happened in utero or early on in your infant stage or even toddler stage and you just don't remember it, your brain actually takes a picture of what is happening in the environment and the emotion that you're having at that time, and it attaches it together. So I did some spray painting today, and it attaches it together and creates this like traumatic memory in your subconscious, and it locks it away. And then anytime you are in a situation again like that triggers either the emotion or the smell or something like that, your brain right away like extracts that piece of information from its database and tells you, run, you're not safe, and it gets this triggering response. Some of the examples that were shared to me at this trauma class that I took, to give you an example, were this kid, one day at school, they didn't know what happened to the boy, but like around lunchtime, he just started freaking out in the hall or in the classroom, and freaked out. And he actually, because it was kind of like yelling, and I gotta go, and he like ran out of the building, and teachers were kind of like going after him, and they didn't understand what happened and why he did that. It was very out of character for him. And they were working with his guardians after the incident, and they were talking about like when it happened during lunch, like what they got deep enough to explore, which was a beautiful thing, to try to understand this boy, to discover that for lunch that day they had served like pancakes and sausage with maple syrup, and the smell of the maple syrup and the pancakes triggered this boy because his family's house burned down in a fire when they were cooking pancakes with syrup and sausage and stuff like that. And like the smell, it was such a traumatic experience for him. Obviously he was in danger and they could have died and everything. House burned down. The smell triggered his brain to remember maple syrup smell, run, head for the hills, you are in danger, you're going to die, your family, your house is going to burn down. So he had just a trauma response, and he wasn't even really aware that that's what was happening. He just ran for the hills. So thank God for that community that wrapped their arms around him enough to understand this was like odd behavior, like let's understand him. So that's an example of how trauma works. And then when they understood, like, oh gosh, like when they were aware and everybody was on the same page, of course they can navigate through him and watch maybe the food menu a little bit better and give him proper precautions and like set things up for him so he doesn't have to experience that, and he can be aware. He probably was scared too why he was feeling led to run out the building. We do things for a certain reason, and so much of our subconscious leads our actions and our decisions. They say 95% of our thoughts are subconscious thoughts. So gosh, you know, it's amazing any of us are walking around as like halfway normal. Think of all the things we've probably been through. And even like they know more now, even in utero, like when a baby's in their mama's tummy, like the emotions that the mom can feel. And if she goes through any kind of trauma or extreme grief during that, it can pass on to the baby and set the baby up for some, you know, emotional health, mental health struggles. So it's really important to like keep peace in your life and to manage your traumas and your stresses, and to not pretend that they're not there and not to discount them. They're very, very real. And especially if you've been through trauma and abuse, like it's going to take you a while for you to feel safe in your body again. And there's so many things that you can do to help yourself feel safe. Doing Reiki and obviously calling in divine energy. Like I'm just a channel in that situation. And I told her, you're manifesting this. You set the intention that you wanted more, and then you met me, and here we are. Like your soul led you here. And I loved helping people integrate like more into their divine energy. Anyways, that's my goal. I would love for people to come for Reiki every week, but like I really want to empower you as a soul to tap into your own divinity. And like, yeah, and just things I got guidance for her too that she can do is like being by water. I had a vision of her like being out in nature, just like actually sitting on Mother Earth on the ground around trees, and like yoga nidra. Like, you know, when you're so exhausted from trauma and abuse, like you don't always have the energy to like go hit the gym, right? Or like run or extreme things, because you're trying to keep your body calm and safe. And sometimes when you're in a high stress state, like doing heavy workouts or running is actually detrimental to you. It just releases more cortisol into your body. So there are things that you can still do though to get in touch with your body. Like yoga nidra is perfect for that. It's a guided meditation. They don't talk about feelings. It's about getting into your body. Like you actually are asked to bring awareness to your shoulders, let's say, or your elbows or your legs, and it goes through your whole body and asks you to bring breath and awareness to that. Like that can also help you feel safe in your body. Yoga, gentle things and gentle movements, somatic exercises. Like there's the healthy, natural, like clean foods, more water, like getting more naps and sleep. Like there's just so much that you can do on your own to integrate more sensation into your body and to make you help you feel whole within yourself. Salt baths, you know, like it's just a good idea to be. And I encouraged her too to just be okay with giving herself the safety that she needs. Like it's okay to like recognize what you're feeling. Like I'm feeling anxious today. What is this that's going on for me? Do you need a hug, self? Do you need a ice cream? Do you need to take a nap? Like what do you need? You know, like really babying yourself and nurturing yourself until you can get to the point where you don't need that anymore. But you've been through a lot, and you need to find ways to integrate back into the body, especially since there is like a spiritual aspect of it too, where you do have cut off, depending on the severity of the trauma, you possibly have cut off parts of your energy and your soul. And so when you start to heal and this energy is coming back into you, it can feel kind of scary. Like, well, what's this? What's the sensation I'm feeling? I'm feeling energy in my body where I didn't before. Like it can feel unsafe when emotions that had been buried are coming back up to the surface again, like fear or worry or anxiety. You know, and it's just a beautiful thing. Healing is a beautiful thing. And I'm rambling, but the gist of it was that it's actually a real thing that you can have, you know, cut yourself off some of that energy to survive. Excuse me. I don't know, when I'm channeling lately, I'm getting tired. Like I feel like maybe just me talking about all this stuff, somebody needs to hear it, is like a huge release of energy for you, of knowing you're not crazy or weird. Like you're totally normal and you've been through a lot. So your path might look different than someone else's, and that is okay. So many of us are healing and trying to get more whole within ourselves. And if you would love to avoid more abuse and more trauma from partners in your life, people in your life, like I've developed a soul quality test that you can take on the front end of attaching too closely to somebody, that helps you test the quality of their soul and will help indicate whether or not they might be more likely to be takers of energy. Because certain people have decided they are going to cut themselves off from divine source energy and their conscience and things like that. And then in order to survive, they do have to take. And these are the liars and manipulators, the cheaters, the narcissistic type spectrum of people. So I'm super excited about that test. I really think it would, if more people could, it's not going to prevent you from house fires and stuff like that. But like the trauma from people are messy and chaotic, and life is hard enough, and a lot of people are walking around with unhealed wounds. It's amazing any of us are as sane as we are. But then there's the second element, like another echelon of people that are intentionally doing harm, intentionally going around taking advantage of people, taking people's kindness for weakness, energy vampires, they call them, like the soul suckers of the world. And if you knew ahead of time of like somebody was maybe on that spectrum, wouldn't you want to know? Wouldn't you want to avoid more trauma and pain? That's what I really want to share with the world right now. So see me for that soul quality test or remote Reiki or coaching at thezenzone@mail.com. And if anything else, I just hope this helps somebody today. If you are in a healing journey and starting to get weird sensations and feelings coming up again, and it could just be an influx of God, divine source energy moving through you finally, because you are in a safer space, and it will probably feel really uncomfortable at first, but just try to be more open and to receive what God has in store for you. I even had a friend recently had kind of an astral travel type dream, and it was really freaked him out at first, and then as he let himself surrender into it and not be so afraid and just allow God to move through him, and it ended up being a really beautiful healing experience. So yeah, try not to resist what's coming up for you. Make sure you're safe, of course, but if you are safe and you having these things come up, just trust your healing path. Trust your soul's calling this in. You're not going to have anything happen that you aren't ready for, especially if you're praying and meditating on it and actually setting those intentions with your higher self. I'm going to stop rambling. That's enough for me now, but thezenzone@mail.com if you need support. Bye.